So, I just received this studio pre, and the owner said that it's partially recapped, but I have never seen such quality, and almost everything is changed for some reason. I don't know why. Orange drops don't need to be changed unless they failed, but I very much doubt that every orange drop except this one failed. Please make sure you give your stuff and vintage equipment to decent, at least decent techs, because I don't know what the hell this is. What the fuck is this shit? The whole underside plate is bent for whatever reason. The on-off button, because it's a different type. Okay, that's the work of a real tech. But yeah, what the hell is this? Why? This is hanging literally on the lid. I don't know. Is it because you don't have these? What the fuck, man? The longer I look at it, the worse it gets. Quality soldering, okay. What the hell is this? Oh, and yeah. At least the springs are fine of the reverb. It should have been just a simple recap, but obviously everything is recapped already. I just need to do it properly and essentially redo everything. What the fuck, man? Some people just don't care, do they? Okay, everything is gonna be redone essentially. It was just a simple job of maybe a quick recap, resistor upgrade. Most of you know how much I hate those. Yeah, anyway, and just a simple SP2C V1 mod, nothing else. But now I essentially need to rebuild everything. It's cool with me, but now the owner needs to decide how we should proceed, because this will cost him much more if I need to redo everything. But yeah, obviously there's gonna be melted wires everywhere. That was a given. I'm just really not sure what this is and why it's here and why it's here in this shape. Why the fuck this? Either you're too lazy to use the snippers, or you never knew there was such a tool. But yeah, it's so easy to recap if you know what you're doing. Yeah, I'm actually surprised and a little mad that I don't have the last studio pre that I just sent out today with the dual tone stacks, with dedicated solo boost, with GQ trim, with slight tweaks on the V1 arrangement. So it has essentially the stock studio sound and a tighter version, also a mid-gain boost, a dedicated 12-volt supply for the relays. And I'm a little disappointed that I didn't open this earlier just to compare the work and the quality. Please choose your text carefully. And yeah, if he doesn't know how to snip a few legs off a component, maybe he's not the tech for a Mesa product especially. So yeah, thank you to the tech that was here before me. Let me show you, dude, how those work. You see that? Wow. Now you can cut it to whatever length you need it. so it sits closer to the board, secure, and basically those legs work like an antenna. So I assume this preamp in this state is actually catching the news broadcast over the radio right from jump. But so far, this takes the cake. What the hell happened here? Those pots are not original, but at least they're CTS. Obviously, they are not tied properly. And another thing that makes me crazy sometimes, let me show you. You see those? Here? Okay, this one. You see those tabs here on the sides? That tab needs to go here. So the pot doesn't rotate if... Oh, god damn it. Did you see that? That's some quality pot. Look at that. But yeah, okay, back to the tab. So this hole, if you bend this tab right here, it locks it down and doesn't allow it to rotate if the nut for some reason gets loose. So many times I see pots that have been changed without those either lifted, or if they're factory like this one, as you can see, this one is here, is just broken off. Use them. There's a reason for them. They lock the pot to the chassis so it doesn't rotate, doesn't move, and everything is secure. Because if, let's say here, this one rotates, as you can see, there's a bar that goes between all of them. So what happens when this suddenly over rotates? This bend breaks off the tab here and your pot suddenly doesn't work. And then you need to remove this whole thing, replace this, and rebuild everything back up again. And the solution is just to, let me try even to do it one-handed while holding the camera. Okay, even one-handed, I can get it to somewhere. So yeah, this thing is meant to go in here. It's simple as that. Let me finish it off. This is just an experiment for myself, so if I fail, I fail, but it's fun to try stupid stuff like this. Get there, okay. And done, one-handed. So if a monkey like me can do it one-handed, anyone can do it. So yeah, at least the caps are good. When you see a big component like this one, you obviously need to secure it a little bit more, just because if the whole component is held down just by the two legs, there's a big chance that either it can break the solder joint or weaken it over time with vibration, etc., or even break off the whole trace together with it. So the best thing to do is just put a tab of hot glue, press it down, solder it, and you're done. So yeah, quality caps everywhere, quality components, FNTs, I love them. I use them everywhere. Ruined by plain stupidity. I just saw another thing that's quite funny to me, because I've done it myself on some of these messes that the reverb tank is inside the chassis, like the calibers and whatever. But yeah, you see this spring? Yep. This is a spring from a pan that's been just reused, but it obviously didn't work because it needs to hold it like this, suspended between this hole and this hole here. So It actually sits like this, and this is too long. This is too long and completely off. I've done it myself through the years, but yeah. Again, use the fucking clippers, man. One of these springs actually can be used for all four holes. Here, 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 and here. This needs to go because essentially the whole reverb unit is free at this point, and it should be sitting like this, completely ravaged. I love those studio pre's, but god damn it, every time you see some new story with them. This is super cool, and this is gonna be a fun job. At least the whole GQ is fine, I think. Maybe, probably. The switch should work. That's not the original jack, obviously, but those are essentially grounded only through the PCB, and then from the PCB here, after this switch, to the ground lug, and this is the ground lift on the back. So usually, and on most amps, the input jack grounds the most of the signal, if not all of the signal, and everything else like switching, like relays, control voltages, whatever, goes on another ground, basically here. So the two grounds, the audio ground and the auxiliary ground, if you want to call it, are completely separate, and this audio signal basically is grounded as early as possible on the input jack. What they did with the Studio Pre is to isolate the input jacks. As you can see, the original one here is isolated, and the original one here was just like this one, so the sleeve doesn't touch the chassis. So the whole signal is grounded through the plane, the PCB plane, through this one single tiny wire here, through that switch, and then to the ground lug, to the chassis. The problem with that is higher noise floor, so the unit's a little bit noisier. And the trick is just to replace this with a jack like this one. So the sleeve of the jack is touching the chassis. Just scratch off a little bit of the paint before you install this. After this is done and your signal and everything on the preamp is grounded through the input jack as well, your ground lift switch won't work, just because the unit now sees ground here as well as here, but it considerably lowers the noise floor of the stock Studio Pre, and this is a quick mod that you can do to lower the noise floor. Here the jack has been replaced with the metal one that is not isolating, so there's no need to do that, but obviously I need to redo all of this because here at VLLV Toneworks, yeah, we know. This is gonna be fun. I need to load up some podcasts and get ready for some pain and suffering. Yeah, happy checking. Let's see how this turns out.